Hello, this is the Green Corn Rebellion Show. I'm Gregory Harden II, and today I'm here with Amanda Sandoval, who is the City Councilor for Bethany's Ward 1. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Um, First question I have is where are you from and where did you grow up?
Sure. So I'm actually, it's not that exciting. I'm from Oklahoma City, born and raised there. During my campaign season, I said half of my life I spent it in OKC, the other half in the city of Bethany. So, I mean, I'm older now, but about 10, 12 years ago, I moved out of OKC. And by me, my parents.
That's cool. And how old are you again? You're not that much older than me. You're like 28, right? Something like
20,
that.
27.
Okay.
Yeah, 27. I
Okay,
had to think
cool.
about that twice, but yeah,
Yeah. So I
27.
remember because I remember you were like 4 years older than me or so. So that works out because I'll be 24 in February. So yeah.
Good. So see, that's how you'll know I'll never lie about my age.
Yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop what you're doing. Okay. If you like this video and you like the other content on my channel, please hit the like button on this video. Also, go hit subscribe like right now. And also, when you hit subscribe, click the bell so you can get notifications whenever I put out a new video. So, thanks. All right, enjoy the rest of the video. So, what did you do before running for city council?
Before running for city council, I had just graduated from my undergrad from Oklahoma State. Go Pokes! It's Bedlam today. Um, so I graduated with a degree in political science, and I had started working in a nonprofit arena because I felt like that was going to be part of my life for the rest of my life. And I lasted a couple months and moved to the public service arena, right? So that's what I was doing. It was kind of tough because I feel like I was very young, when I decided to run and when I got elected. So I feel like I wasn't doing much yet.
All right. So, what made you want to run for city council?
As I think as a political science major, I felt like I was either going to become a professor or be in the public service arena. And I knew in my life I was going to run for office eventually. And I just didn't expect it to be that quick. Um, but I think, and I like saying all the time that the stars aligned for me to run for office. I had gone, checked who had, filed to run for my ward or in my ward. And I just wasn't, I felt like, no, I feel like my time is now. Legit put on Facebook. It's like, if someone helps me cover like my filing fee, I'll go ahead and run for office right now. And immediately my first supporter has sent me the money, which in line, it's been a really great experience ultimately. But that's why I like to say the stars align. I was like, okay, I think the time is now, and it's either now or I'm never gonna do it. Just to play my to encourage myself. But yeah, that's how I feel like I hopefully I answered your question.
All right. Episodes of the Green Corn Rebellion Show are sponsored by Oklahoma Progress Now. Oklahoma Progress Now is a 501c4 organization focused on building progressive power in Oklahoma. Their primary efforts are on developing progressive content for a 21st century audience, coalition, and capacity building across progressive organizations and causes, and working to see elected leaders who are more responsive to their constituents and the needs of the many. Areas of focus include progressive messaging and communications, coalition building and resource sharing, and focused progressive policy goals. You can check out their Twitch live streams, and they go live on Facebook at noon, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Please support this organization. It's a really great organization. It's just getting started here in Oklahoma. Thank you. Now enjoy the rest of the video. So what was campaigning like, and what did it feel like whenever you won on election night? I know I was there on election night at your watch party, and I knocked doors for you like a few weeks before, but I have no idea how you felt. So you tell
Oh,
me.
yeah. So it's a that's a hard question, right? Because I always have to think about it twice. Like, what was my campaign like? What was that experience? Because I'm a very honest person and transparent person, right? I'm not going to tell you, oh, it was amazing. It changed my life. I want to do it for the rest of my life. Oh, I love call time, right? It's honestly a hard, hard journey to do the campaign itself because you have to be your strongest advocate, right? You have to try to sell yourself and your platform to people that have never met you in person, and really trying to vouch for yourself as much as you can. So if you ever get like a tiny bit of doubt, or if someone you know doubts your credibility, whether it's at the doors or whether it's a potential donor, you doubt yourself. If you doubt yourself, ultimately, you're not going to get that far. So I had a lot of emotional and personal struggles within the campaign itself. You know, I remember once someone was like, "Oh, are you here campaigning for your husband? Is that who you're campaigning for? Or shouldn't you be home, honey? You know, making some dinner for your family instead? Or shouldn't you focus in your studies instead?" And that was very discouraging.
Mhm.
Gregory, I can't stress that enough. It was very discouraging because it's like, wow, it's like maybe they are right. So I had to do a lot of self-reflection. I had to learn really quickly all about self-care to make sure that I was 100% every day. I know whenever I had like my hardest day at the doors is whenever I had someone from the other party that, you know, I'm not affiliated with. But if you keep in mind, even as a city council, I'm nonpartisan. It's nonpartisan, at least, you know, in the city of Bethany. So partisanship didn't matter, right? It shouldn't have mattered. But having those type of bombarded questions over my own personal ideologies, and knowing that as a city councilor, I can do very limited or not at all when it comes to like abortion, all those tough, you know, it's like all those really tough topics, but yet they're bombarding you with these questions that once they know what party you're affiliated with, they assume that they know all these answers, right? And that they know you as a person. So trying my best to separate myself from you know, just being feeling belittled over my, you know, myself and my beliefs and my ideologies was really tough. So that's why I'm very honest. Like the campaign itself was really tough, and it really taught me to realize that you know, I have to be 100% sure if I want other people to believe in me, to trust me, to vote for me. Um, but yeah, I know I couldn't have done it without my team to prepare me, and like my family and my supporters that were really there, really involved. And yeah, it was a short but sweet campaign for me. The night that I won, I remember my dear friend Crystal. She was she was on who, you know, she gave me the results, but she had taken like my significant other, my husband, and I to a separate room, and she was like, "Here are the results. I want y'all to experience this first, and then once you're ready, come out and talk to everybody." And just thinking about it, I just get really a lot of goosebumps, right? Because I'm a first generation Latinx, you know, woman of color. Like all the odds were stacked against me, and to relive that night, to see a room, you know, a house full of like my friends, my supporters, you know, and seeing that, hey, all of this was worth it. Or guess what? I actually freaking won. Um, it's a very emotional, it was a very emotional night, you know, and during that time I would see a lot of great people winning around me. That's like, oh wow, so it's like the tides are turning, right, y'all? Like the tides are turning, more women of color, more people of color are being elected. um it was a very empowering feeling to be able to break so many barriers, so many obstacles, you know, even defeating the odds and statistics. that night was beautiful and very empowering.
All right. So what are some things that you've been part of while on the city council that you're proud of?
Okay. I like how you said that you're proud of. I mean, see, it's a lot, when it comes to even municipalities, there's so much red tape and there's so much bureaucracy, right? That any little small win is a huge win. One of my, and it was the team, it was definitely a team effort, but one of my biggest things when it came to like city council and becoming a voice and having a seat at the table is to make sure I promote inclusive space whenever and wherever I'm located at, whenever I have a chance to, right? So one of my first things I had done is everything I would say, I would immediately interpret it in Spanish just to make it as inclusive, because my sections are the only ones that are being spoken in Spanish. So I was like, well, I guess this is where I could start. And all hell broke loose, like I like saying, and people were scared and terrified, right? There's a lot of backlash I got from my city councilors. Everybody was freaking out, thinking I was trying to like start a riot or a revolt or something, a revolution. And it's that in itself, finally having to normalize a little bit, and for some of the meetings we were able to get an interpreter on site, right? And to this day, I'll still interpret everything I say into Spanish, and I just love it. So that's a small win. One of the other things is we have a newsletter that we send out with our bills. Right. So having that newsletter translated into Spanish too. And that was basically after me being here for like 2 years and a half. That was finally completed this summer. We're finally, an ever-growing population, which is Spanish-speaking population, pays taxes, pays bills here. So I would sure as heck would love to have them included in anything that is in the newsletter, which, is like trash day. It's important information for our neighbors to get. So those are smaller initiatives, but I like to think that, small wins are what you have to think about in the long run. It'll keep you motivated.
All right. So what was it like being on the city council during the pandemic, and how did y'all handle that?
Oh yeah, this is a tough one. So it was hard because because City of Bethany was one of the ones that decided to keep meeting in person. And back in like July, I got COVID.
July of this year or last year?
Last year.
Okay.
2020, right?
Yeah.
Heck, 2020. And I had COVID. My husband had COVID. And it was when we first didn't know the magnitude, or we were at least in denial about the magnitude of this virus. I was really freaking out because I had exposed so many people, including my immediate family. I didn't know what to expect. My husband and I, we were both suffering together. So that was like, we couldn't even help each other because we were bedridden for a couple of days. So I know that for me, I've always had like a very strong stance when it comes to COVID because I was personally affected by it. And, family members and friends have been affected by it too. So I was really adamant about having, at least masks enforced. That wasn't the case in the city of Bethany. And the plain majority decided to just go ahead and cope with it by highly encouraging masks citywide and still meeting in person. I think we had like 3 meetings virtually. And that was really hard, right? Because not everybody has the accessibility to technology and such, right? Mm-hmm. And some people aren't as tech savvy. If you look at the demographics and the occupations for the city council, at least in the city of Bethany, the majority are, retired age and such. So they don't have the need to use technology as how much we normalized it during the pandemic, right? So we couldn't do it virtually because we had to make sure we were complying with the Open Meetings, Open Records Act. And it was so hard because people were not muting themselves, or this back then a lot of like the internet outages were coming on everywhere. So it's like all of a sudden when we're about to vote for a big ordinance change or something, someone loses their internet and we got to stop, because we didn't adjourn the meeting. So now we're like awkwardly waiting for someone to hear. And it was hectic. It was really hectic, but I know we still met in person. We tried to social distance, but where we were meeting is like a really small space. So even then we were pretty limited, but I think we had to work with what we had at that point, right? Especially once I got COVID, I kind of set those boundaries of like, no, I'm not going to hug you. I'm not going to like shake your hand. We're in a pandemic. I'm recuperating from COVID. Like, please, no. So yeah, it was a tough time. It really was a tough time here.
So you guys didn't end up implementing a citywide mask mandate at all?
Correct.
Wow.
Just mask encouraging, highly encouraged.
That's wild. Like even Shawnee had a mask mandate for like a good year there.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, because like in Shawnee, they implemented a mask mandate, I think, the end of April of last year. And they voted to end it early because I think they extended it like every 3 months or so. And it was supposed to end in June, but they voted in April or May of this year. I think it was April of this year to expire it then.
Wow.
Supposed to let it wait until June, which I wish they had waited until June
at
least. Yeah, because vaccines just started rolling out, and the eligibility wasn't for everyone to be able to get it yet. But either way, like we at least had one for a while, and I feel like it was good that we had it while we did. And yeah. That's interesting though. So what are some other things that you would like to continue working on and would like to work towards while on city council?
So that's really tough, right? I like to think I want to like something big, something that I really want to try to accomplish is trying to get a geo bond for a new animal welfare. I'm really passionate for animals, specifically cats, but I just really want to get a completely renovated, state-of-the-art animal welfare. City of Mustang has a beautiful one that I had that they got through a geo bond. City of Moore just passed a geo bond too for the city for the animal welfare as well. So it's like, okay, these other cities are doing it. We could have a possibility of passing a geo bond here. That's one of my bigger projects. I think smaller projects is trying to keep promoting an inclusive and safe environment. And that in itself is a process, but I know it's a process that's slowly moving, but surely moving. So I think that's where my focus is smaller projects. I'm in the parks committee trying to make sure that the parks stay up to date, how we can improve them, improve and increase. I completely forgot, but yeah, it's helping a lot, and I'm trying to stay involved at least where I can see small improvements.
Okay. And the last question I have here is, what kind of music do you listen to, or who are your favorite music artists?
Okay. I'm all over the place. I was looking back at like my old playlists, and oh my god, I cringe a little bit, but I still love that type of music. All types of music. Even like religious music. I love it too. I was hearing my old playlist of rock, like also like My Chemical Romance, kind of like, what is that? It's not rock. Is it
emos type? Yeah, like emo pop punk type stuff. Yeah.
Right, yeah, that's the stuff I used to like, and even then, I still like it. I like several Spanish music, like reggaeton, banda, and great artists are like coming out in mainstream. Bad Bunny, Ariana Grande, Galiuchis, Camilo. I really like a lot of music. It ranges. I can't stress enough. It ranges way too much. But yeah, that's the
Alright,
type of music I like.
okay. Um, well, thank you for coming on. Where can we find you on social media and website or anything that we can find you on?
On Instagram, Amanda for Bethany. That's Twitter too, Amanda for Bethany. And then on Facebook, Councilwoman Amanda Sandoval.
All right.
Yes, those should be all my pages to follow.
All right.